TCU is almost to the halftime of their season, per se, as they get a bye week after this week's matchup against Iowa State. But they have to get through that matchup against Iowa State first to get that little bit of reprieve. With Carlos Mendez, I'm Travis Brown, and Gary Patterson has really stressed this four-game stretch that ends this weekend with Iowa State so they can get to that bye week, recover, grow some guys up. How important is it for TCU to get past this four-game stretch, and has it really been as important as Gary Patterson has made it?
Yeah, I think so, not only because they're all conference games, but these guys are probably ready for a break. They're going to have played 7 games in 7 weeks, and you know that's tough on you physically. We know what kind of injury problems they have, so I know that Patterson is really looking forward to getting these guys off their feet for these 10, 11, 12 days, see if somebody can heal up and just get ready for that next test, that Thursday night game against West Virginia. You know, he'll be in an advantageous spot if he can get there at 7-0 because it's a chance to rest, play a good game, get another little extra rest for the game at Oklahoma State. Those are 2 more games that you have to knock out if you're TCU and you want to get to those last 2 games of the season in the shape you kind of want to be in.
Not to mention this week was fall break for TCU, so that some players got to get maybe 3 treatments a day instead of just the 1, or even if they're able to get 1 in each day, help that recovery, as of course everyone is a little bit banged and bruised at this point in the season, and have just a fresher overall team for this Iowa State game that is coming up. So it didn't come without a little bit of heroics and a little bit of a heart attack almost in this Kansas State game last week, and then also in that Texas Tech game earlier in the year. But somehow in both situations, TCU has managed to survive and get out there with the win. But is that something that they can maintain? I know Patterson said the more that some of these seniors are in these experiences, the easier it becomes. But I don't know. Is that something that they can maintain throughout the rest of the season?
No, you can't keep walking the high wire all year because one slip is enough, you know, to knock you to the ground. But to their credit, they've at least gotten these experiences under their belt. And for a young team, you know, they'll always be able to look back on 2015 and that time that they did it, you know, when these situations come up in the future. But it's a tough way to learn. Fortunately for them, they've come out on the right side of it, and they've gained some confidence doing it. But I can't imagine that's the game plan from here on out. You know, Gary Patterson continues to stress that the defense has to play better. You know, you're at the halfway point. It's like you said, they're not that young anymore. It's time to really show something. And you know, this weekend is going to be critical for that too, because it's another one of these road games where you just can't afford to ask your offense to come from behind every week, and you can't do it here against Iowa State either. So that's the first thing you got to watch for, is see what the score is early in this game.
As TCU was the first team, we heard the stat today, to come back from an 18-point deficit like that. They would not had a team done that in over 200 tries so far this year. So they have to get past this Iowa State team first before they can get to this little oasis in the middle of the season. What are the keys to the game for them to be able to get there unscathed?
Well, it sounds like it's going to be line play because Iowa State has a very veteran offensive line, as the coach was explaining to us. And TCU is still trying to develop that chemistry on their defensive line. They just got Terrell Latham back. You know, Davion Pearson's coming up on his 3rd or 4th game back now. And this is an area of the team that has been a strength. It was a strength last year, but, you know, this area of the team, just like other parts of the defense, just hasn't been able to find that consistency, either in part because of youth or injuries. And it's just that time of the year where line play is going to matter. And it sounds like it's going to be a big key on Saturday.